The horn has blown. We are off and running. This is the finals for the Volcom Pipe Pro. Cam Richards in red, Joshua MONIZ in blue, Jamie O'Brien in white, Wesley Dantas in green. Who will draw first blood?
Is that an actual question?
That's a question.
I'm going to go Jamie O'Brien. He's done it so many times over and over. He's quick to get a start. He's a smart competitor. In fact, everybody in his camp, no matter what they're doing, they all ran over here for that semifinal and they gave up on everything just to watch him. And Mr. Dantas.
Again, this is exactly where he was taking off and pretty much the outcome of half of the waves in the semifinal. So he's sticking to that game plan of the inside. There you go, Jamie O'Brien on his backhand. Perfectly placed in the barrel, comes out, no worries. He's loving it. Great start for Jamie O'Brien. And you can tell this guy is in rare form. Well, I shouldn't even say rare form because he does this every day.
That, my friends, might have been a huge mistake not going on that wave. If you've made it to the finals, you've made it to the big game. It's all about throwing yourself over that ledge. Mr. MONIZ, I shouldn't second guess you and your talent. I'm not sure what you saw right there, but let's see what Jamie O'Brien saw as he dropped into a beautiful pipeline barrel.
He's been doing this for 7 years straight, right? He's been pulling into perfect pipeline in the Volcom Pipe Pro. He's had up and down results. He had the big win the first year this event ran, and you know he wants that crown back.
He's been doing this since the day he was born. His dad, Mick O'Brien, a lifeguard here at Pipeline, had him out there in his diapers.
And I mean, that's a thing of beauty. The judges are really going to have to assess that wave and kind of think into consideration what we have. You know, we have time for multiple rides. So Jamie O'Brien with a 7.43 to start. That is exactly what any heat tactical expert will tell you to do. Get a good wave in the first 2 minutes of the heat. Give yourself an easier road to the win.
He just flanked his opponents and came in crashing through with a great ride. 7.43 on the board. Amazing tactical yet practical approach to this final.
You know, you can see a change in motivation for Jamie O'Brien. I feel like he has come into this event after a couple awkward results, a couple, you know, not so stellar years here at the Volcom Pipe Pro, an event that he should be considered a favorite every time he enters. And even he said it, he almost forgot to enter this contest.
He did.
Yeah. So
he did forget to enter this contest, and that's why he was in my heat in the Volcom Last Chance qualifier. He has gone since the very early rounds all the way to the final. But you know what, to your point, I think he's been so mad at his past results the past few years, and instead of just retiring a salty old dog, he said, you know what, I'm going to get myself in shape, I'm going to get it in gear, and I am going for that checkered flag.
That is an incredible story right there, coming all the way from the Volcom Last Chance qualifier. Wesley Dantas, I mean, you stand next to this guy on the beach and you really realize how much of a specimen he is. Dude is like a linebacker, but I tell you, he's light on his feet. He's unafraid to take a just pounding out here at Pipeline. In his semifinal, he went kind of 50-50. 50% perfect pipeline rides, another 50% absolute thrashings. We'll see if his stamina will hold up for the next 26 minutes. And you would think just by adding 5 extra minutes to the clock for the final, well, on paper it doesn't look like much, but I tell you, 5 extra minutes in any heat throughout this entire contest would have been a huge difference for our surfers. And that is an extra 5 minutes that these guys are going to put to full use.
I would have said that 5 extra seconds would have got Jack Robinson into the semifinals. He broke his board and broke 2 boards in his quarterfinal heat, was able to make it back into the lineup, and then as the horn blew, some of the biggest waves of the day rolled in right there.
25 minutes now, things just calming down a little bit after a quick start from Jamie O'Brien. Wesley Dantas getting slammed on his first wave. Let's talk Cam Richards, a surfer from South Carolina, who has been on an absolute dream run. He said the past 2 years here at the Volcom Pipe Pro, he's had to wait on the beach as third alternate, did not get into the contest. This year, he went out there on the qualifying series, made it a point to get enough points to get the entry level that you need to get in the Volcom Pipe Pro, and he's made, again, full use of getting into this contest. He said the best $250 he's ever spent in his life.
East Coast Cam is coming in full throttle. What a story. And you know what? We've always had somebody do extremely well from the East Coast, so maybe it shouldn't be a surprise. In years past, guys like gnarly Brett Barley were the guy going all the way from the early rounds up into these last ones. But Cam Richards, you can't say enough about him, especially performing on his backhand at backdoor.
Joshua MONIZ, he has been doing it again since day one. This young stellar surfer from the island of Oahu comes from a long line of incredible surfers. There's the pit crew, everybody cheering for Josh MONIZ. What are his strengths out here at Pipeline?
Let's just say he has zero weaknesses. Let's put it that way. The guy knows these waves, he knows competition all the way since the early days. His dad was one of the best in Hawaii in the 80s. Speaking of one of the best right here and now, Jamie O'Brien.
Jamie O'Brien just deep enough, guiding himself through another Pipeline wave. Again, just the perfect approach to this wave. And here we have a paddle from Joshua MONIZ. So that will be interesting in terms of priority. It looked like he made a pretty solid effort to get into that wave, and he'll have to get back into the lineup and most likely be at the back of the line as Jamie O'Brien is just prowling around. It almost looks like Jamie O'Brien's out there by himself. He has his pick of waves today.
Jamie O'Brien looks like that when there's 100 guys out there. He is so good at finding great waves and positioning himself underneath. He's got these super, super long arms and a fearless approach to this wave known as Pipeline.
This is a perfect medium insider wave at Pipeline. And again, tactical surfing, very smart, packing a backup, just putting that one on the shelf for possible later use.
That is money in the bank right there. What this is going to allow Jamie O'Brien to do is actually sit out the back and wait for one of the bigger waves. Vaughn Blakey was saying, you know, I don't know if backdoor is going to come into play. And I think that's because the biggest waves of the day are more Pipeline, and the judges know bigger is better.
So a 5.17 for Jamie O'Brien puts him way out into the lead. Clock winding down, going fast with 22 minutes, 25 seconds to go now. MONIZ and Richards yet to get involved. Dantas with just a 1.1. And so far, Jamie's tactics are paying off. He's just found a couple of gems. Things calming down. Of course, the swell is, as predicted, been just pulsing all day. Biggest surprise, I think, to everybody, the wind. It has stayed so calm and so perfect throughout this entire day. That was the biggest worry. That worry is gone. We know for the next 21 minutes and 50 seconds, we are going to get into prime Pipeline conditions.
You didn't just say that.
Did I just say it? I'm knocking on wood. Knock on wood.
We're extremely fortunate that it stayed overcast today. And we actually got a little blessing from above with a little rain shower that allowed these conditions to persist. It is as good as it gets, not only on the rights, but also on the lefts of Pipeline. Perfect, perfect waves. On his front side, Cam Richards.
Here we go, Cam Richards, and he gets detonated. So you feel like you got an itchy trigger finger right there. Had to go with, you know, already that much time elapsed in the heat. So we'll see, he'll get reset. And here's our first look at Josh MONIZ, bobbing, weaving, coming out with the spit. An incredible opening ride for Joshua MONIZ.
And Sis made it down. There she is, two-time world longboard champion, Kalia MONIZ. That was by far the best barrel that we've seen so far. That was super deep, super late. Looking into it, he disappears and still comes out.
You see just at breakneck speed as he just hooks it under the lip, pumping on his backhand, using that rail to pull himself up and into the pit. Look at that. I mean, that right there is as technical as surfing gets. A backside grab rail pump is among the hardest things you can do on a surfboard.
A backside pump is the hardest thing to do, but he did two of them, at least in that wave. You can read the emotion on his face. That is the heart of a champion, never giving up.
Well, now it's up to the judges, who are definitely watching the intricacies, every subtle movement that these surfers make. You know, an added pump, some added flair of grabbing the rail, stalling just right. The judges want to be wowed, just like us, just like you guys at home watching and looking at the scores coming across the board. I think they are indeed excited about what they saw from Joshua MONIZ. It's a couple of big numbers coming across the line. 19 minutes, 42 seconds to go.
I'll tell you somebody who's not impressed by that score and those cheers. It's Jamie O'Brien.
Exactly, and he hears the number, an 8.83.
Still leaving room, still leaving room. So
yes.
There is 1.5 points available above that. It all comes down to who's willing to put themselves in harm's way.
Yeah, well, you think of the equation, all right? If the wave was a little bigger, if the barrel was a little longer, that's how you do it. And here we go, back-to-back, Joshua MONIZ. Can he make an escape? He cannot, he goes down. Valiant effort there, and I love the idea of getting right back into that cycle. He got that wave paddling back out from that huge score, somehow sneaking that wave from under the rest of the competitors in this final. Cam Richards with the 1.6, Dantas a 1.1. Slow start for red and green. Now priority shakes up. We've got Dantas sitting in top priority, and here's the last wave from Josh MONIZ.
Pipeline is notorious for this. Waves will actually, because it's so deep outside this reef, they'll roll in underneath the competitors. It's very unique that you'll sit in the lineup and not even see one of those waves go by. That thing was an absolute sledgehammer as it comes down. Interesting. Double overhead on the end, 6 inches.
The reverse grower effect. 18 minutes, 15 seconds ago. Jamie O'Brien still in the lead. Josh MONIZ now knocking on the door with an 8.83. Cam Richards, Dantas struggling to find their opening rides. And as the final winds into a razor's edge, all surfers trying to get themselves in position.
There's the O'Brien camp. I wonder how that is for Jamie, looking directly back in at your house, and that's exactly the peak takeoff point of Pipeline.
Yeah, and here you see the MONIZ camp. The numbers are growing over in the MONIZ area. You've got coaches, friends, families, fellow surfers. Zeke Lau's in the mix there.
You know what I saw over there? A lot of Hawaiians.
That's right.
Give it up for the boys.
Best tailgate party ever. Wesley Dantas now pumping in and out. A beautiful wave at Pipe. Watch out, it goes to the air. So that was our first real look at Wesley Dantas. This guy is an absolute powerhouse. And I just looked at, I had an interview with him just a little bit ago, and the look on his face told me everything I needed to know. He is here to win.
He is ultra serious, isn't he? I tried to get an interview with him himself, but he actually kind of scared me. I said, you know what? I got to use the bathroom. I'll be right back. And I just actually just ran away.
Well, the theme of the day yesterday was carnage and glory. Today, I think it's all about glory. You know, it is definitely going to, you know, every sense has to be firing if you want to, you know, win this event, because these guys have taken a beating. Every surfer in this final has had at least one brutal wipeout on the day. So by no means easy, and although it is perfect out there, these guys have paid their dues to get to this point.
And it is so fitting that the trophy for the Volcom Pipe Pro is a Warrior helmet. Every single one of these gentlemen has put in a lot of work and definitely left a bit of skin on this reef as well. It is a battle.
And here we go, looming on the horizon, a set, but an inside sneaks by the crowd, and it's going to be Josh MONIZ cranking it off the bottom, straight into the barrel, out with the spit. The cheers go up on the beach. Local surfer in blue is fired up. No doubt getting a solid backup score there. Started with an 8.83, trying to get rid of a 1.63. No doubt did it with that last wave. We'll see if he made the right choice. He got the best of that exchange. Here we go. Cam Richards having a paddle. He's going to be late to the drop. Rolls in nicely. Comes around this section through the foam, up into the barrel. Cam Richards now with a score on the board. South Carolina threat to take out this event is finally in the mix here with halfway to go in this final.
That was a huge pipeline wave. Super late. Down to the bottom, off the reverb, into the barrel, and Cam Richards kicks out with more swagger than Mick Jagger.
So this is, you know, usually you're thinking of the second wave of the set being the more groomed of the sets, right? But the first wave looked like it was just absolutely perfect. This one right here, the one that snuck into the inside portion of that reef. You know, why does it sometimes switch on us?
I think the second wave was actually good. Jamie O'Brien didn't go on it. So this is the first wave of the set with Mr. MONIZ. The second wave was actually Jamie O'Brien, but he ditched his board, not going for it. So this one of Mr. MONIZ, phenomenal backup score. Coming out clean to the screams of the crowd, but that one sent a bit of reverberation out. The second wave sent more, and then Cam Richards actually took off on the third wave of the set.
Unlucky number 3. It was still a good wave, but
sometimes third one's the charm, but not here at Pipeline.
Well, the score comes through for Josh MONIZ, a 6.97. That means Joshua MONIZ takes over the lead. Jamie O'Brien drops to second. Wesley Dantas in third. Cam Richards in fourth. His first score of note comes through at 4.27. And I think this is going to end up being a battle of 8s, 9s, and potentially 10s. As you see the scores start to incrementally increase as we go into the final 13 minutes, 40 seconds. The beach is packed.
We talked about peaking. It's right now that you want to peak. Speaking of peaking, in the final, off the peak, Jamie O'Brien.
J.O.B., his low score, a 5.17. That wave right there most likely would be just in that range. And here we go. We could have a backdoor and a Pipeline split peak situation. Dantas perfectly done at Pipeline, and we'll see did Cam Richards sneak out of the doggy door. That's what you love. A goofy footer making the call to go right at that most dangerous of spots, backdoor Pipeline. And something great could have just happened there on the other side of Wesley Dantas' ride.
Well, let's find out right here. Huge cave.
Wow.
That was a do-it-yourself man cave. Right here, Mr. Dantas doing a little interior decorating inside, paints the walls, says, I like it myself. But Cam Richards on his backhand, that was great positioning. A goofy footer looking at another goofy footer saying, hey, I know he's not going to go on his backhand, but I will.
Well, that was the most demented looking wave we've seen of this final. That was a throaty, big backdoor, just beast of a wave. And I feel like the risk that Cam threw down right there has to get him high up in that score line.
Looking at both of Cam Richards' top scoring waves, both of them were covered in foam. Both of them had tons of reverb coming back up. It's like going, okay, I'm gonna go Tokyo Drift right down the street, but there's a bunch of curbs, there's a bunch of spikes, no big deal, I got this covered.
You know, I think right now the judges are basically watching backdoor and Pipeline. It looked like length of tube, pretty even between those two surfers. You gotta figure that it's harder to do it on your backhand at backdoor than to go front side at Pipeline on a wave like that. So the judge is still deliberating as to what to give Cam Richards and Wesley Dantas on that last wave. 11 minutes, 30 seconds to go. Josh MONIZ with priority. Jamie O'Brien, second wave of 6.33.
I feel like Cam Richards' wave might warrant a better score than Mr. Dantas' wave, perhaps, but does not matter because I don't think it's better than Jamie O'Brien's or Mr. MONIZ's wave. Yes, it gets him into the conversation, but we'll see. We're just armchair judges at this moment.
You know, this spot in the contest for Cam Richards, this is where, you know, he's gone through all the emotions of disbelief, shock. I can't believe I keep making it through heats. He said it himself. He's got to get back into this final headspace-wise and just think, you know what? You've got here. You've got a perfect 10. You've got 9s throughout this entire event. Keep the pedal to the metal. And you can win this thing, Cam Richards. You've just got to keep doing what you've been doing.
You just got to make it back out into the lineup. Cam Richards got absolutely smoked inside at backdoor. I only see 3 competitors out right now.
And another set coming through. The score comes through for Cam Richards, a 6.57, a 5.93 for Dantas. So as we expected, a little bit higher for Cam Richards going backdoor. You know, now we're looking for Cam to get himself back into the lineup with 10:15 to go. Josh MONIZ has priority. And here at the end, boy, it's Wesley Dantas flying from the sky, landing on the flat bottom and getting axed.
She's like a stepping razor. Don't you watch her size? She's dangerous. Pipeline, always in charge. Jamie O'Brien.
Late drop into the pit. Again, and stays in. Jamie O'Brien with the double two-bride and stands up. Hands over his head. Crowd goes wild. That is the Jamie O'Brien we know and love. Are you kidding me? He just turned this final on its head. Crowd's still going wild.
That cheer from the crowd shook the island of Oahu. Jamie O'Brien throwing caution to the wind.
That was fast. The judges knowing full well what to throw out. Jamie O'Brien,
are you kidding me?
With the perfect 10.
Huge drop, super late, over the foam ball, but just when you thought he was going to come out, puts on the brakes, goes for the extra bonus round.
Well, he knew it was a 10 right away, and so did the judges. That was the fastest 10 I've ever seen thrown out.
Speedy Gonzalez shoots through that giant gaping section and then throws on the brakes. This is a pipe master, being able to not only overcome Mother Nature, but to toy with her right here, sticking to the wall like a fly, putting on the brakes. This is total commitment.
There is no more intense of a ride than this right here. Jamie O'Brien on his backhand. I mean, that's an absolute miracle that any human can do that. And Jamie O'Brien has done it over and over and over. And the judges see clearly there. A perfect 10. And that was thrown out in about 5 seconds. That was an easy call for the judges.
Pipeline did her best at every point on that wave to knock him off his feet.
10s across the board. So the KMC Wheels team rider gets yet another set of KMC wheels. Congratulations to Jamie O'Brien. And guess what, folks? He's not done yet. He's still got 7 minutes, 45 seconds to go. So here's what needs to happen for Josh MONIZ. He needs an 8.61. Wesley Dantas and Cam Richards both comboed at this point, meaning they need a combination of 2 scores in that excellent range to get back into the conversation to take over the lead from Jamie O'Brien. And the number that I'm looking at is the 7.43, because that's where he has room to grow.
I love that the fact that Jamie O'Brien got a perfect 10 and gets those KMC rims, because I know deep down in my heart he's just going to end up giving them away to somebody who is deserving. He already gave away a set earlier this year to somebody who was charging super hard, Benji Brandt. And speaking of giving things away, Pipeline is giving back to all of us here now. But you know what I did? Seconds ago, we had a break in between the semis of the final. I ran over to Ehukai Beach Park, loaded up 2 bags of goods, and I'm gonna give those away, as I do every year, in the name of my friend, Sarah Balaker, who's recovering from that ferocious C word. We love you, Sarah. Keep fighting that good fight. Keep you posted on the social aspect of that later. Basically, anybody comes to my social media, throws out something to make her smile, you'll be walking home with a whole bunch of Volcom Pipe Pro merch directly here from Ehukai Beach Park.
What a guy.
The money goes back to the community.
I like it.
The smile goes on around the world.
Dave Wassel is in a giving mood, and I feel like the judges are too, and they basically are wanting to throw out 10s. They just want these surfers to earn them. Jamie O'Brien earned it right there. Will Joshua MONIZ be the next to get that perfect 10? We know he's got the skill. We know the waves are here. Now it all has to come down to timing and positioning. At this point, Joshua MONIZ stands the best chance of catching Jamie O'Brien, who's been absolutely unleashed in this final. You talk about when and where to peak. Jamie O'Brien is peaking at the right time, the right place, with 5.5 minutes to go in the final at the 2018 Volcom Pipe Pro. He does not want to welcome a new winner into that illustrious group of 4. He wants to keep it to 4. Kelly Slater, Soli Bailey, John Florence, and Jamie O'Brien, the only 4 surfers in history to win this event. We could be looking at a repeat from Jamie O'Brien, but we got 5 minutes to go.
Okay, Josh MONIZ, needs about a 9 to overcome Jamie O'Brien. What if he posts a 10? Do you think Jamie O'Brien's going to give Mr. Moniz that set of rims if he gets a 10 right here?
Well, he might earn it himself. Here goes Joshua Moniz into the barrel, out of the barrel. Goes up into the lip.
Stick it, stick it.
Wow.
Oh, man. The crowd goes wild.
Yeah, wow. So, I mean, now we're seeing it just a battle, a duel between two pipe masters. And I'm not even going to say the past and present of pipeline. These guys are both surfing in the now. Jamie O'Brien, Joshua Moniz, both taking it to each other. Dantas, he's still battling. Cam Richards as well. Cam's at a 6.57, but both Dantas and Richards need 2 waves to be in contention for the win. We'll see if this one was enough to get Joshua Moniz over Jamie O'Brien.
This could definitely shorten the requirement, especially if he stuck that maneuver. I don't even know what that thing was called. Absolutely stuffing the turkey in the oven. Mr. Moniz is the hottest thing since sliced bread.
Well, the fans on the beach love a big ultimate pullout like that. Joshua Moniz putting on a show. And you see when he came out of that barrel with that much confidence, the judges are going to react. And they are definitely going to be looking at that wave again. He's low scoring a 6.97. And again, you got to focus on that number. Jamie O'Brien, 7.43. He's got to replace that score if he wants to fend off Joshua Moniz, who's obviously charging hard. And he needs an 8.61 or better. That's going to be close, Dave.
I'm still trying to wrap my head around what Mr. Moniz just did. The room is spinning from all the awesomeness. What is that called? A double grab, backside, alley, something, or what is it?
This is basically a backside cork 540. You see him going upside down, and kind of the way he flew out of the back, it kind of took any trick name out of the equation because it just became a pullout. But you saw the intent here. You know, we saw Kelly Slater in the early days, or not the early days, about 10 years ago, attempting what he called a rodeo clown, and kind of a similar outcome there. But, you know, basically you got backside rodeos, you've got moves that came from skateboarding and snowboarding, and most all of the full rotations you see can be considered 540s. So had Joshua Moniz pulled that, there'd be a different story as to what we would call it. But I'll tell you, the judges, they don't care about that end trick. They care about the 2 bride, and they give him the score, an 8.73. We've got a new leader, Joshua Moniz, back on top. Jamie O'Brien now needs a 7.56.
Whoa, hold everything. This is the contest within a contest. Cam Richards definitely made it back into the lineup, but nowhere near the conversation. A minute 50 left.
Just when we thought we were going to hand it over to Jamie O'Brien, the same thing that happened to Jamie with John Florence may have just happened again with Joshua Moniz.
I think that everybody on the beach right now is holding their breath.
A minute 30 to go. Dantas has priority. Jamie O'Brien will have second priority. Looks like we could see something on the horizon.
It's going to take a big, deep barrel, to say the least. Jamie O'Brien definitely knows this lineup. Just looking at what he saw outside of the lineup, he knows exactly where to position himself. Will it be enough?
Do you see anything in that picture telling you that a wave could come in time?
Here's the thing, because it's so deep outside, something could actually swing underneath. Jamie O'Brien with those extra long arms, you know that he will be able to catch it. As the time ticks down, it's not on his side, that's for sure.
45 seconds to go. We could be crowning a new champion here at the Volcom Pipe Pro. Joshua Moniz with 30 seconds to go on his road to glory. Jamie O'Brien trying to will a wave. 30 seconds to go. An incredible turn of events for Joshua Moniz, who had his back against the wall. Jamie O'Brien with that perfect 10 midway through the heat. There's Wesley Dantas looking over at Josh going, you may have just gotten this, buddy.
Will the king of pipeline have to dethrone himself and hand over the crown to Mr. Moniz? with 5 seconds counting down. There it is.
Ladies and gentlemen,
the torch has officially been handed over.
We have a new champion, the 5th surfer to ever win the Volcom Pipe Pro is Joshua MONIZ, and the beach is going absolutely berserk. A great moment there.
Dad on the right, Reynolds Hage coach on the left. 2 proud Hawaiians just embracing as this young man has sealed his fate and manifested his own destiny here at the Volcom Pipe Pro.
So tell me where Joshua MONIZ comes from, and tell us how he got here to this moment.
Joshua MONIZ comes from town. He grew up surfing small waves on the South Shore. But in the backdoor shootout, Jamie O'Brien beat a MONIZ to take the win, and so it has flip-flopped right here. A sea of Hawaiians coming to congratulate the young man who has realized his destiny. What a tremendous accomplishment, and I'm sure just the beginning.
Look at this crew. Well, you know, we know what they're actually doing.
They're going to go surfing,
that was you know, the chat and pass, you know, where you kind of chat somebody up to pass them in line. But there you see Joshua MONIZ. I mean, he just got the who's who of the surfing world patting him on the back. A well-earned and well-deserved victory. He has been putting in so much time over here on the North Shore. Probably hasn't seen his home in town in years because he dedicates everything he's got to the waves over here on the 7 Mile Miracle, the North Shore of Oahu. And, you know, make no qualms about it. He means business on the QS as well. So he's just earned 3,000 points, a solid check. And more importantly, he has the now name recognition as one of 5 surfers on the planet to have won the Volcom Pipe Pro.
Quite the dubious distinction for young Mr. MONIZ, with his blood family on land and his extended family in the water. Inside that chest beats the heart of a champion. I was afraid I said it too early when he got that wave to kick it off, but he just took it and ran. Mr. MONIZ, you are the champion of the world. Absolutely stuffing the turkey in the oven. Mr. MONIZ is the hottest thing since sliced bread.
Well, the fans on the beach love a big ultimate pullout like that. Joshua MONIZ putting on a show. And you see when he came out of that barrel with that much